Today, I'm here to answer the question of how Storyland, the theme park of New Hampshire, impacted the tourism economy of New Hampshire over its 70-year run. But before I get into that, I feel as though some background information on the park is necessary. So, here it is. When Bob and Ruth Morrill were sent to Germany by the U.S. Army in 1950, the North Conway couple would end up finding something they would not have expected. A German woman by the name of Frau Edith von Arps was selling beautiful, handcrafted dolls designed to look like storybook characters, of which the couple bought 25. As the couple's tour was ending, Frau Edith von Arps suggested to Bob and Ruth, "Why don't you open a small village back in the U.S. based around my dolls?" As the couple would come home and buy the land of a former sawmill to start the soon-to-be Story Town and later Storyland in 1954. Building the first attractions of Heidi's grandfather's house, the old woman's shoe house, and the Three Bears house, alongside Freddy the Fire Engine and a few other small animal houses for the Three Pigs and Peter Rabbit. Now that we have some background on the park, let's get into its importance to New Hampshire and the towns of Glen and North Conway. As today it stands, the theme park of Storyland is celebrating its 70th anniversary this summer. Something that still shocks me, and would shock me most, as this means the park is a year older than Disneyland in California. As the park's lifespan shows, that even though the prospect of the park lasting when it had originally opened in 1954, people still want the New Hampshire park, as they make enough yearly profit from its opening in the summer season and the aquarium they have next door to keep the park open and in good condition for its age. From its sweet soundtrack to its encouragement to bring your own food, the park has been home to many generations of fun and happy memories throughout its 70-year run. Due to the park's location in the state, the town of North Conway sees plenty of people staying in hotels and buying products from local shops when in the area. Most visitors are families with generations of people who grew up at the park, but people with none still go during the open season. Because the park is only open from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., people typically want to go back a second day, especially if they showed up late, which is why Storyland has a policy where if a person shows up at the park around 2 to 3 p.m. before they close, they are given a free return pass for the next day or the rest of the open season, but only a one-day pass. Due to this, a lot of people stay in hotels and other places of stay in the nearby town of North Conway, or in other nearby towns, which benefits the area as most people will eat at local restaurants such as Red Fox and Kringle's Country Store, which can be good places to stop for food. If neither of those restaurants are of interest to you, you are allowed, and it is widespread practice, to bring food from home. And if you've forgotten food, don't worry. The food at the park is not bad, and they have quite a few options. And now, a short break to talk about some fun and interesting things that would not fit anywhere else in the video. Let's do this sort of chronologically, as in what the fun fact is about. First, all original 25 dolls are still around and can be found in the administrative offices as of 2014, and plans to move them back into the park were made. Second, the first ever ride at Storyland, Freddy the Fire Engine, is still within the park, just out of sight of the entrance area of the park. Though the park Storyland wants to bring him back out, they are currently afraid, without proper procedure and protocol, that the wear and tear hands of the weather, children, and squirrels may cause damage to the old fire engine. So, as of right now, he stays away in storage. Now, one of my personal favorite facts is that the cars that currently drive around the antique car ride were not proper cars built by a car company, but were in fact built by the loving hands of the former founder, now passed on, Bob Morrill, designed with back seats for the parents. And here's quite the interesting one. Storyland first introduced alcohol to its park back in 2019 during Nostalgia Nights, and later introduced it as a main staple a couple years later. You might be wondering what a Nostalgia Night is. It's a night period after the park's closure where adults 21 and older can go to the park to drink alcohol and relive fond childhood memories. Now, on to the last one, but most certainly not the least by any means. The former governor of New Hampshire, Governor John Sununu, rode the now-defunct Voyage to the Moon with founder Bob Morrill. They rode the ride together on its opening day in the year 1983. And now, back to the tourist information on how Storyland impacted New Hampshire. Before Storyland, the area of northern New Hampshire's tourism was mostly winter tourism, going to ski at a local ski location, or people going just an hour north for the Olympic Nansen ski jump in Berlin, New Hampshire. Because of this, most of that tourism was winter tourism, and it still is to this day. But now, due to the theme park's existence, the tourism is in the summer months too and is quite present, as people from all over wish to bring their kids to the town for the theme park and some of the more kid appropriate activities in the towns of Glen and North Conway. Now, tourism in the area for all ages throughout both the winter and summer months has been at an all-time high. Like recently in the summer of 2021, the tourism in North Conway, as stated by the Conway Daily Sun, in the summer of 2021, the state welcomed 4.4 million visitors who spent more than $2.1 billion, which is about $7 per person in the U.S., breaking previous records set pre-pandemic in the summer of 2019, and representing a 21% increase in visitors and a 5% increase in spending for the season. This has been a walk down memory lane for me, and I'm so glad I could bring you with me. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope you've learned a lot.